Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome to Jibber Jabber. I am your host, as always, Skajarmas, otherwise known as Toneshift. And today, holy fuck, do we have a full house. Jesus, we have not had this many people on here before. This is going to be insane. So, first of all, we've got Zach, one of my patrons, if I am remembering correctly. There's so many people, you're all blurring together for me. Yes, you're one of my patrons, okay.
Hello.
Yep. One of my longer-standing community members, the local meme lord, and also a guy who recently upped his patron pledge from $1 to $5, permitting him access to Jibber Jabber, Tux. I realized I should have done him after Tom. Speaking of, next up, we have the author of the Change series, as well as co-author on many Idiocyverse stories. We have Tom117Z. See, that's better.
You didn't even wait for Tuck to say hi. You just moved straight on to me.
Sorry, Tux, say hi.
Hello.
Okay. Now, next up on the list, we have another one of my patrons, a good old-fashioned paladin, just kind of hanging out there in the background.
Hello.
And now, again, another somewhat long-standing member of the Discord server and also recently become a patron of $5, we have Malifor, otherwise known as Knight. Probably actually going to call him Knight, but whatever.
Hello there.
Just kind of back there.
Still a fake knight.
Just kind of throwing himself at Paladin with the intention of pummeling his face in. And last but definitely not least, we have Hades Shadow 92, who is also here.
Help! I'm being held against my will.
No, you're not.
You throw yourself into this willingly. You're a masochist.
Before we get started, I'd like to speak to one thing with Tux that me and Hades at one point shared the same reaction, which was, when did Tux become a Patreon?
When I got
Everybody, Jibber Jabber is just having everybody jump on the Patreon train.
when I got money, that's when it happened.
I'm sure Tone's not complaining.
I mean, Tux has been a patron for a while, but he's been at $1. He was pretty much a patron since I started the page. He tried to be at $10 at first, but then he dropped down to 1 because he didn't have money to spend, and now he's bumped himself back up to 5, and who knows how long that'll last.
No, it was a mistake at 10.
About the same.
Remember about the story of I forgot to put on the monthly cap.
Yeah.
And
About to say.
So basically, I gave Toneshift $40 in 3 days.
I am sorry.
Did you like your McDonald's money?
I mean, to be fair, I didn't spend that money on
Gotta get that
McDonald's.
Big Mac.
To be fair, I didn't spend that money on McDonald's. I spent it on other shit.
Oreo or inventory?
He spent on Burger King.
No, I dislike both of those places equally. If I'm gonna eat at a fast food joint, it's either gonna be Dairy Queen, Wendy's, or a local place that we just call the Burger Joint, but I don't actually know its name. We just call it the Burger Joint because that's what it says.
American shit.
I am American.
Hey, Tom.
Dang, didn't say Taco
I
Bell.
don't know.
I am American as much
We
as I
don't
am
do
ashamed
Taco Bell.
to admit it.
This is madness.
America.
This is other
No,
madness.
we have Nando's.
We're not doing that America meme
No.
thing ever on this.
No.
I mean, if you'll permit me to parody it for just a second.
No.
Come on, I'm making fun of it.
No.
Fuck you, I'm gonna
No.
do it anyway.
God.
America!
God.
Fuck no!
Which one of you started
You
that?
should concentrate at the end of that.
Say, which one of you started that?
Who fucking knows? That song's been around for years.
No, I mean, who started it here? Who's the first
Who
one?
else? Who else?
The fucking meme lord.
Speaking of the meme lord, why don't we go ahead and talk about the two new folks in Jibber Jabber today? So, Tux and Knight. I suppose it would be in order if you two give brief introductions of yourselves, and then we can tell you how much you were lying.
Okay, who's gonna start?
Knight, thank you for volunteering.
Oh God. Okay, what do you want to know?
Just introduce yourself. Tell us whatever the hell you feel like telling us, and we'll tell you how factually incorrect you are. From our own
Okay.
first-hand experience.
You tell us nothing but lies.
Very well. I'm a gamer. I like fanfics. I discovered Tone's channel when I was listening to Human Nature Show reading, but on that, by the way.
Blank
You know,
isn't
but-
here.
You know,
He
but
also
if it was
sounds
any-
more British than I
Tom,
do.
he was
That's
a
all.
bomb.
He sounds more British than Tom.
He does.
I mean,
Maybe
just
just
so,
know
I mean,
because
just
I've
so,
been around America.
Maybe I am British. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, just so everyone is aware, where are you from, Knight? Isn't it some place called Estonia or whatever?
Yeah, Estonia, near Europe.
Yeah, Fallen
In
keeps.
Europe.
I mean, doesn't Fallen keep calling it discount Finland?
I have no idea what he's calling
Discount.
it.
I would.
My country is very small.
It's a boot.
That would definitely explain why I.
Was...
That would definitely
wish
explain
Fallen
why
was
none of
here.
us have ever heard of it.
Exactly. Just look it up on Google and then bam.
Well,
Americans only care about you if you have oil.
Now I think it's another reason why we'd never heard of it, because I mean Rhode Island is pretty small.
I mean, to be
We know
fair, I know
Well-
about Rhode
well,
Island
Estonia
because my
is right next to Russia and Finland.
and it's worth noting, I'm probably actually going to know a fair amount about Rhode Island in coming years and months and such, because, I mean, in the next few months, that's where my brother's going to be living, and he's going to be living there for like 3 years because he's attending college over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
He's-
let's
he's
just
getting-
say my country has like the biggest woman-man ratio ever. That's what
Really?
I keep hearing from bowling and starfish.
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
And we've also, of course, got Tux, who is the
The
local.
meme
Who's on my head for some reason.
Yes, he is
Hello there.
Yes, he is the local meme lord. And also, any of you who are paying attention to my channel earlier this morning, a few hours ago, when we were setting up for this episode of Jibber Jabber, I posted a video, a new Discord dub, in which Tux was actually featured, where Blank Page's character was also there. It was a little snippet of the Jibber Jabber logo here, with Blank in the background, looking at Tiny Tux on Tom's head, meme talking, and it was just a Discord dub. You can go check it out. It was really funny, and we got like 17 new people joining us as a result. It embarrasses Tux, so you should do it.
Yes.
Breathe, Brian. Breathe.
No!
I'm about to say, you freaking pulled a pinky on us. Breathe.
No. You see, if I were trying to pull a pinky, I would have been talking in her voice too, but I can't actually do that for very long without losing my breath. See? That bitch takes air!
Oh my god. This is madness.
Yes, thank you. Tux.
Oh
Ow!
shit.
I'm
My
going to need therapy after this.
Yeah, so am I. Tux, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry.
My name is Dazamari Till, and my profile name is Cool Tuxedo, short name for Tux. I am the meme lord of all the servers, and I am very annoying, and my sole purpose on this server is to torture Tone Shift.
I mean, you're not doing a very good job. You're not doing a very good job. Knight does a
About
better
to
job
say
of
it
that.
I'm about to say it takes a lot.
Exactly.
Tone. You gotta have that right.
Okay?
Hey, I take offensive to that.
Good. It wasn't meant to be a compliment.
Well, you see, Malifor is a natural.
I have my own special ability.
Yeah, it's called you.
It is known as a sickness.
That's not
The
special.
special ability is thickness of his skull.
These, it's like you got it.
You need to get help.
I would.
Tell you,
Preach into the
But
choir
nobody
there,
really
bud.
helped
Preach into
me.
the choir.
Oh my goodness.
Paladin, I think everyone here and YouTube is going to find out how annoying you really are.
Both of you.
Oh, we got another new guy in the server. Look at that.
Keen has just joined the server.
Oh my god,
damn it.
how many new people are there?
No,
You see?
help him, 'cause that's what I do
You're
here.
attracting a crowd, Tux.
See, I
Yeah,
told
we've got.
For context, because I have notification sounds turned off while we're doing this, we record Jibber Jabber in the Discord server that is featured in the Discord dubs in a private voice chat specifically for that very purpose. And as a result, we can see everything that's happening in the Jibber Jabber discussions while we're doing, or in the server discussions while we're doing Jibber Jabber. And a new person just joined the server, presumably because of the Discord dub I put out, which I am okay with.
I'm not.
I mean,
Accept it, Tux.
I'm
You're
not
famous.
I mean, to quote,
That's because it's about you, Tux,
to co-
and that
to-
don't matter.
to quote Clara Oswald, I don't think you get a vote.
Eh?
I think it, we all.
Watch Doctor Who.
How dare you?
Man.
I've never heard of her or him,
Oh. Rose Tyler?
but I think I'll watch Doctor Who after I'm finished with this madness right here.
Oh my
Woo!
You've
Watch
never heard of the Doctor.
Please tell me.
We
Guys,
need to know
everyone
the
is singing.
wibbly wobbly timey wimeness.
Timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey?
I swear,
Oh,
I don't know
no,
where.
People assume the time is a strict concept of cause.
We're talking over each other.
but
That's
actually
the
a strict
problem with this many
concept of-
people, Tone.
more of a
Yeah,
football,
yeah.
wibbly wobbly
Yeah,
thing.
I'm figuring-
God,
I
I
I-
fucked that up.
I'm thinking I'll start setting caps in the future, like 6 people, maybe less. I don't know. At any rate, but as this things stand, we do have more topics to get to. We've introduced the new folks. So this next one, we're gonna let Tom pretty much take the reins because he's the one telling this story.
Oh yeah.
He apparently got a message on Film Fiction not all that long ago, and it has kind of an interesting story attached to
Yesterday.
it. So go ahead and
Yesterday,
fill us
so it's
in there,
not
Tom.
Yeah. So, I was just browsing film fiction and the web, talking to Brian in one of our private chats. It's just me, him, and Hades, normally just ribbing each other and pissing each other off. And, like, just calling Brian an utter bastard. When I got a message yesterday from, well, someone who I'm not going to name for his privacy reasons, given the nature of the story, but the message reads as so. Hi there, I simply wanted to message you to let you know how much your book Change has done for me. You see, I was fostered in the UK at a young age. Those 12 years were utter hell, as not only was I abused, but I also didn't know anything personally about my parents. All I learned was from 4 one-hour contacts I had every year. However, your book helped me gather the courage to say no to social services, and on my 17th birthday, I absconded to Ireland. I now live a happy life with my mum and dad. We have 12 years of catching up to do, and none of it would have happened. None of it would have been possible without your book. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. You have done a great deal for me. Sincerely. And then the name. And that came absolutely out of nowhere. And
About to say, Tom, you're a miracle worker.
That is great.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
what
right.
teared in my eye.
Yeah,
I applaud you.
yeah, that is that. I mean, that is pretty damn. That is pretty damn awesome, and I feel really great. Sorry, I feel really glad for that guy. And kudos for you for writing
like-
something that inspired him to actually do that.
yeah, like I asked him, I responded just asking whether it, or saying obviously I had no idea that change had that much of a profound effect on anyone's life, because you don't go into writing fan fiction about multicolored ponies in a magical pony land and expecting to do something like that, really, do you? And I just replied asking whether it was the whole Twilight.
Ow!
What the fuck was that?
That was a phone.
That was Tux.
Shit.
Tux, this is meant to be an emotional story.
Turn off vibrations, you little shit.
I'm
You
trying.
fucked it up.
Use your vibrator later.
Fucked it up.
Go on mute.
We got our surf fuck up.
All right,
my
Tom, continue.
But yes, I just basically I replied specifically saying, "Wow, I don't even know what to say to that. I'm glad change had a profound impact on your life, but I never really thought it'd be that profound. I assume it was the Twilight finding her biological mother aspect that did it. I hope you do well with your mum and dad." To which he responded with, "Yeah, it was that and how Twilight knew she was different for a long time before anything major happened. I personally never really belonged to any of the foster families I was placed in. I was actually rather depressed during my teen years, and had I not read Change, I'm scared of what I may have done. So, yeah.
So
Apparently,
you indirectly saved a life. That is.
yeah,
Change
by
is-
writing
That
about
is simply amazing.
It is.
You see,
writing.
Yeah, you see, that is that whole story right there is a perfect testimony to the sorts of works that good people in this community can do, even without even trying.
Yeah, because somehow writing about bug changeling Twilight, finding her mother and reconnecting with her, putting aside what happens later on, yeah, somehow helped this guy through depression and also inspired him 17th birthday to find his biological parents and now lives with them. So
this is-
he did a Twilight.
Yeah, that is a damn incredible story, and yeah, that's just amazing. I don't really know what else to say about that.
I don't know what to
Same.
say. I'm
This
the one that got the
proves
fucking
that
message.
Yeah.
This
Wow.
community.
I'm about to say,
This community
Change
under-
is definitely your best work, Tom. That's a staple in it right there.
Tone. You said
Tone?
tone.
I said Tom.
Oh,
You said tone.
I said Tom.
It sounded like you said tone.
Well, I said Tom. All you'll need to
I
get
kn-
your ears shit. I want to say, why
You
would
can't
I
make
say
that.
Tone? He's just the one that did the reading, mooching off.
You
it.
can't tell us utter bastards, apart.
not
Well, sometimes, really, I can't tell you two apart.
Really? I don't know how to think about that. I feel like I'm Twilight and Tom's Starlight being accidentally lumped together by Ember. It's like, you all look the same. What?
They do.
Yeah, and I'm also being called a clever little shit by Hades today.
Yes.
I wouldn't know if I'd use the word clever, but little shit, definitely.
It was out
It's something I
context.
can-
It was about Warda's change, and he doesn't. And we don't need to go into that one. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just something I did in the story that
Spoilers,
people
my
was quite
dears.
clever.
Spoiler.
Spoilers.
Like
Spoilers,
Misty.
darling.
Like not Misty. What's her name?
River.
She does. Yeah, River. There you
River
go.
Song. Professor
River-
River Song.
Spoilers.
Eh.
Although,
Also another name, but that'll be spoilers as well.
before we move on to the next topic, gonna pop an improv here for just a second, because
Oh, dear.
as I mentioned a couple episodes ago, or even last episode, I don't even remember. I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who recently, working through the first series with Peter Capaldi, so season 8, and I just watched Kill the Moon last night.
That was
Man.
good.
Now, while I think that the whole notion about the moon being a giant egg is absolute garbage, I did not like that particular part. The rest of it encircling around that particular part of it was fine. I was okay with that.
Clara pissed me off on that episode at the end.
Well, she
I'm-
was kind of pissed off.
I honestly felt that her rage was to a degree justified. I understood where the Doctor was coming from, but the way he went about it was not all right. I understand that he
Well-
was trying to show respect and let them make their own choices, but the way he presented himself when doing it, spoiler warning, by the way.
Yeah. Like,
Occurred to be a bit late, sorry. If you haven't seen that yet, or if you don't want to, I'm sorry. But anyways, now as things stand, when it comes down to Clara's anger towards the Doctor, I do think it's to an extent justified, because while the Doctor's heart was in the right place in trying to make sure that humanity made its own choices on such important things, the way he presented that was not great. He kind of came off as stupidly condescending, extremely arrogant, and disconnected from the people he constantly claimed to care so much about. And so I can understand where Clara's coming from. If I were in her position, I would probably feel very insulted too. Very insulted, degraded, and like I was, just offended, pretty much.
Well, yeah, it's understandable. The Doctor is
Yeah.
well over 2,000 years old by this point, so
Yeah.
It's just-
And the Capaldi Doctor definitely seems to be a lot more blunt, jaded, and, for lack of a better term, creepy.
yeah,
yeah.
a little bit.
He
Most
did spend
definitely.
300 years in a war zone.
Yeah,
Prior to
despite-
that.
I've never
Uh,
seen Doctor Who, but I think I'm going to get into
The
it.
David
Also, fun fact, something you didn't know, Brian. You know in 11's final episode how after a point you see him walking with a cane?
Yeah.
A bit of background to that. That's actually because he lost a leg during the Battle of the Trenzalore.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, he's wearing a prosthetic.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the aliens had it torn off.
Ow,
So this whole
Jesus.
novel.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
It's a
I-
flesh wound.
You know, it's weird because he's lost a limb before. Well, a hand. He grew it back.
Well, that was
Yeah.
when he was still regenerating. So he
Yeah,
grew
yeah.
it back.
Thing.
Yes,
Called-
within 24 hours of regeneration, if
He
a limb
can-
should be cut off, a Time Lord can regenerate that limb.
Yep.
And also, at that point, spoiler alert, he was out of regeneration
Well, that is
before
true.
they did a timey thing.
And then they did timey-wimey thing. Was like, hey, let's give him a whole new regeneration cycle.
And the doctor doesn't even know. And the doctor doesn't even know if he'll ever stop regenerating. He said so and killed the moon. We don't know how many he got. At least I don't. I don't know if that's been confirmed in later seasons yet or not.
It's meant to be a whole new cycle. Like, he's the 12th Doctor, but he's also the 14th Doctor and the first of this new cycle.
Right.
Which is also why it took so long to regenerate.
Right. So 12 new regenerations, basically.
At
Yeah.
the least.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
11 now.
13 faces. Like, he's still got 12 left as the 12th Doctor because that 12th face is the first of the new cycle. So it's the equivalent of William Hartnell's first Doctor.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He has 12 regenerations, 13 lives.
That's
Yeah.
the 12th Doctor is where I really did not. That's where I really stopped. Or
I can
or
understand
maybe-
that. He's
on-
definitely not for everyone.
on the Peter Capaldi, the Peter Capaldi for I like the actor, but as a Doctor Who, he's not really for me. Someone like a little more jumpy, like for example David Tennant, one of my personal favorite Doctors.
He lightens
play.
He lightens up a lot after
David
season
Tennant
9.
and
After season 9 and 10, he's a lot lighter. Like, there's a scene, spoiler alert, where he arrives in medieval times at like a tournament on a tank playing a guitar. just to
Oh
show off.
God!
I've seen that clip.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to just play the Doctor Who theme on that guitar because I saw like mentions of that around. It's like,
No.
Oh no, that's in season 9. There's like an episode where he plays the guitar to accompany the intro theme because he's just.
he learned how to
Like
play
you're
the
playing
electric
the
guitar for
bass.
for the fuck of it, I guess.
Oh yeah, and like another spoiler alert. Another Doctor is eventually going to see that and he's not going to be impressed.
Oh
I like-
yes.
I like
Oh,
the 10th
yes.
Doctor
I remember.
myself.
Matt
Wait,
was
what?
my
11's
favorite.
my favorite.
Yeah, 11 was my
11
favorite
is
too.
mine.
And of
Yeah,
course, we got Jodie
bow
Whittaker
ties are
coming up
cool.
before long. Yeah, and we got Jodie Whittaker coming up as the Doctor before long.
First female Doctor.
October.
That's gonna be
first
fun.
female Doctor.
Yep, that ought to be fun.
Yep.
And from what little we've seen
I
in the
saw a
trailer,
clip.
she seems to be kind of jumpy, so that looks cool.
Yeah, I saw a clip from earlier in the episode where she's meeting two of the companions for the first time, and they call her ma'am, and she's questioning why the hell they're calling her ma'am. Like,
Oh.
she's rather confused by that.
Well, she's
Like,
And there's
Well,
like,
it's the
oh wait,
first
that's
time
right, I'm a
being
chick now.
no, she says, oh,
Dang it.
pardon me, I was a greying Scottish bloke half an hour ago.
Nice.
And they're
regeneration.
both, and like all of the new companions are police officers. Like 2 of them from the 60s, I think 1 of them's modern day. But yeah, they were rather confused by the Doctor's statement there.
Sorry, I was a Greg Scottish bloke 30 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yep.
Anyways, we've got another
I've also
topic. to
seen
get-
the new TARDIS now.
Cool, I haven't.
Before we
Shush.
continue,
Shush. We've got one
Okay.
more. We've got one more main topic to get to before it's pure improv, and that is Friendship University, the latest episode of MLP.
Oh boy.
our favorite Connor.
This is gonna be fun.
So let me really quickly just run through a quick recap of the episode. If you haven't seen it yet, audience, this is your spoiler warning for the episode. Go watch it and come back once you're all caught up. And
Can we just skip this?
no,
Clement
we
Clam
can't.
will spurn.
Yeah, so
I hated that episode so much.
well, allow.
I didn't hate the episode. I just hate Flim and Flam.
Now,
Same.
let me give my recap before we start throwing the shit. All right.
Okay.
So the episode, more or less, begins with Twilight and Rarity. It's a Twilight Rarity episode, by the way. With those two learning that there is this Friendship University opening in Las Pegasus. Now, this already raises red flags because Las Pegasus is basically Las Vegas. It's where you go to have sex, drop cigarette butts, and go home and never speak of it again.
So little mature for Equestria, but okay.
You know it's
Oh yeah.
It's a party resort. There's what the hell do you think they're gonna do there?
It's behind the.
Or party like animals.
Exactly, and they're gonna fuck like animals too. Anyway.
As soon as that camera turns off, it's a whole different world.
Yep, pretty much. Now then, so. So. Okay.
we don't exactly see much than just what we actually see through the main six's eyes. No, 2 times they've been there. 3. Rather.
Yeah, 3.
Now.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, so they go to this friendship university to investigate it, see what's going on about it, see if it's on the up and up, if it's a legitimate establishment. The fact that it's in Las Pegasus is already raising red flags. And with good reason. As soon as they go in and the 2 headmasters or whatever pop in, it's Flim and Flam. They just appear. And the first words out of Twilight's mouth are, of course, Flim and Flam. Of course. Like, oh, who else could it be? So, and then they launched into this stupid song that I immediately skipped. Because
I did the same too. I was like, I'm not.
I usually watch songs on the first run through, but no, it's Flim and Flam. Those 2 can die in a fire. But after their song was finished, Twilight understandably was very distrustful towards them, and with good reason, considering their history they have. And after a little bit. It turns out that that this university has gotten official accreditation from the EEA, which means Chancellor Bigot Cunt I'm sorry Naysay himself showed up. Sorry for my.
It's a pony-only school.
Yes, so this little shit stain marches in, gives some extremely prejudiced remarks, snarks at Twilight a bunch, and then. The lessons basically kick off. Flim and Flam bring on a bunch of people.
Says that, oh look, this school is EEA approval and blah 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 blah.
Excuse me, could you not interrupt me when I'm doing the recap?
Fine.
Yeah, like I said, I'm doing the recap. Let's save all shit throwing until I'm done.
Okay. It's very hard, Tone.
Yes, we have very distinct hatred for certain ponies, so.
So do I, but you don't see me throwing the shit until we're done with this. Bitch, get on my level.
Continue.
Fuck you.
No.
Getting on your level.
I do
is
not
like-
consent to this. No.
Oh god. Just finish your recap so we can start throwing shit.
Okay. So, Twilight and Rarity, with a lot of nudge, wink, wink from Rarity, decide to launch an investigation into the school to see what's going on. They wear disguises, with Rarity becoming Plainity, with like her mane all fucked up, wearing the stupid ball cap style and like clothes and shit. And Twilight just had an eye patch and a frowny face stapled onto her ass. and her nickname was Eye Patch. I have an eye patch. Not a sufficient disguise. I wonder why Rarity didn't pull out all the stops for her, but whatever. So,
Because it's hard to work with an alicorn.
You could have hid the wings.
Or give her a hat to hide the horn. Anyways, so
How do you hide a horn?
with a really big hat.
Should be a lot easier to hide the wings.
They would be. But at any rate, so as things stand, they went through the motions of checking the place out. Rarity attended a couple classes to see how lessons were conducted, in which there was a brief moment where it was basically willing slavery. I'll get into that later. After that, though, we cut to Twilight going to Flim and Flam's office to poke around for anything incriminating. And sadly, Flim and Flam find her poking around, take a picture, and while I question why she didn't just shred the picture with her own magic, being infinitely more powerful than them, at any rate, so they threatened to use this picture to ruin the fuck out of her reputation and take everyone away from her school unless she just goes away and lets them do their thing. Reluctantly at first, she agrees. I forgot to mention that.
What's with all the mic rustling?
I'm about to say you forgot to mention their star pupil that's got her so jealous.
Star Swirl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Star Pupil, Star Swirl. Get the names right. Yes,
I
forgot.
said their star pupil.
Whatever. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Star Swirl is at this university learning about friendship. He didn't really understand what was happening because he didn't know these two shit stains. And that was definitely a big motivator for Twilight to act as she was, because, Star Swirl's her idol, and no, my senpai, no one else can have him, kind of thing. Exaggerated, of course, but...
Star Swirl, though, he's basically trying to relearn everything.
Yeah, he's trying to relearn everything he knew about the world around him, so one can forgive him for
On
being
the
a little...
Malifaux, there's a lot of rustling on your end of your mic.
I haven't noticed, but at any rate, so after rendezvousing back with Rarity after being caught and being told to shove off and begrudgingly agreeing to do so, they learn about how Flim and Flam have been handling the classes and covering expenses. It's basically microtransactions.
I found the entire episode analogy.
Yeah, what basically ends up happening is you go into the school, it's completely free to sign up and take part in classes, but if you actually want to get anywhere, you have to shell out bits for, I think it's like the actual worksheets.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to buy the things to answer the questions so you can actually get anywhere in the school. That's not good.
So yeah, they tuned into EA.
Exactly. I mean, it wasn't, not quite, because it wasn't a randomized gambling loot box. So, but at any rate, so they went on with this for a little while, and finally, Twilight and Rarity were able to catch the Flim Flam brothers in the act of scamming ponies out of their money just to build an extension onto their big Las Pegasus spa resort thing, Red Hooved. Made it quite clear, led Star Swirl to show him what they were up to, and convinced him, okay, give all this money back. And they did. And all the students were then... And then all the students were directed to go to Twilight School, referred to Twilight School as like an alternative. And a lot of them seemed okay with this, so that's pretty much where the episode ended. With Rarity making a comment of, because a running theme throughout the episode was her ordering a bunch of sewing machines to use in her class. And the episode ends with her saying, "And I know that using sewing machines to teach friendship is right. I just have to figure out how."
And Cozy Globe definitely not being Maysay's daughter. No, not at all.
We'll get to that in a minute, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all that was just, it was fun. I liked it. It was fun shit all around, more or less.
Except Flim and Flam.
Except Flim and Flam. So overall, my thoughts on the episode were, whenever Flim and Flam weren't on screen, I was enjoying it. Whenever they were on screen, my enjoyment was severely hampered, but I was still able to suffer
And
through
you
it.
want to burn them to the ground.
I want to take Flim and Flam, shave off their scrotums, pin those scrotums on the wall, and then nail them to their own scrotums via the forehead with a gigantic nail that's white hot and dipped in lava.
So
I
basically,
just wanna kill them because they're annoying.
I'm about to say.
they must suffer. Pain lasts
They
longer.
must,
They must suffer a
We're
painful death.
we're a bunch of psychopaths.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
The whole
there's
episode
pretty
really
ways to
They
torture
must suffer
them
the slowest
right now.
death in the history of death.
I'm about
That
to
is
say,
using
Tom,
knives.
we were
I
brought
just have
together by
swords. I can
you.
literally kill them.
Knives are better.
No, it's just
Savor the emotion.
Yeah, take the knife to the scrotum. Is it bad that I'm
Nah.
holding a knife right now?
Yes.
Is it wrong if I'm holding a
Is
sword?
it wrong that I got one within arm's reach?
I mean, it's a pocket.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it's a pocket knife that I actually found on a beach.
all
one
right,
day.
guys. Down, guys.
Switchblade.
Let's not.
Let's
let's
cut
not
to
hurt
the
anybody.
ship.
All right.
Actually-
But anyway, the whole episode really was an analogy for microtransactions. Like, they lure them in with everything being nice and free, and then they charge them increasing amounts just to get to the end. Though at the end they wouldn't have got any degrees because Flim and Flam would have closed the score and run off with all their money.
Exactly.
EA
And the
commercial.
shirt of that one guy's back.
I'm about to say, if Naysay accredited this thing so fast, and what would happen if they did nothing and then they close down the school almost as soon as they get all the money that they want, and then what happens to his reputation?
I'm amazed he even
Ooh.
has a reputation left. Ow, fuck.
I'm amazed he has a
He's
job.
a senator or chancellor.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
I'll-
his prejudice
Also-
is clearly something that no one agrees with. I imagine even Celestia is not okay with that, yet he still has a job.
I don't know.
Even if he can
I'm
somehow
surprised that
have it-
Celestia didn't throw him in jail.
Here's another thing: isn't blackmailing royalty? Shouldn't that be illegal?
Oh, it
Like-
it,
like-
it,
Wait, when did when
Extreme
did
illegal,
he?
I heard.
the Flim Flam brothers
Flam
tried
brothers.
to blackmail Twilight.
That's
Oh
right.
right.
And
Forgot
blackmail in
about that one
general
part.
is just illegal as fuck.
But to royalty, that you're
Oh,
royally.
Oh,
yeah,
that
I'm pretty
is
sure
like
that
a whole bunch of wrong.
I'm pretty sure that counts as treason.
About to say.
Oh,
But no.
if speaking of treason,
we're just
I'm
glad
not
that
going to
Twilight
say
doesn't
what
hold a
this
grudge.
is, but if you've seen the promo for the rest of the season, you will see some serious treason going on later.
Okay, now Tom, let's not get into that, but just
And I'm not saying specifics. I just want
we're
to.
not saying specifics,
that
but
out
just
there.
think about this for a second, guys. The whole worksheets that they were making, they got from Twilight's lesson
Book.
plan.
Where'd they get it? I was actually about
Where
to
did
ask.
they get it? Is the question, isn't
Cozy
it?
Okay, here's
Glow
my
walks
theory.
in.
I think this cozy glow and whatever is Naysay's daughter, and somehow
what a
he
lot of
got the
people-
book.
That's what a lot of people are saying. Because the moment that Rarity and Twilight were trying to talk about it, she immediately comes in and derails the subject.
Exactly. I don't trust her.
No one
Isn't
trusts
she a
What's-
crystal pony?
What?
Isn't she?
No.
She's just a tiny.
No,
No,
she's a
she's not.
Pegasus.
She's just
Yeah, she's the
She
one
may
with
look
the
like
rook.
one, but
mark.
she's not.
Yeah, she's the one with the chess piece cutie mark,
Oh right.
Which is
as in
eh,
chess master.
I don't
Yeah. And also the whole introductory episode was suspicious as fuck.
know.
I
how she
Eh,
happened to be-
haven't actually seen that one yet.
It's
What? That was ages ago.
odd.
That was before the hiatus.
Actually, it was a couple of weeks or a month ago.
No, that was long before the hiatus.
It was before the hiatus.
Oh, maybe 2 months ago, or maybe 3. I can't remember.
Exactly. It was a while ago. Tone's just slow.
Hmm.
And episodes with fulls have a bad habit of making me cringe.
Cringe. Oh,
Well,
the
that whole
cringe.
episode was suspicious. Just like they were really playing up like how full on Darla Dimple, like how cutesy she was being, just trying to get the CMC to help her out, and how she happened to be outside their treehouse crying and to get their help, and how at the end of the episode she happened to get close to all of the teachers as a result. And as a chess
And the
piece,
result is
in
that
chess
she got
master.
a job in Twilight's. Actually, she's a student in Twilight
She's a-
School.
She's a
Student.
student.
Yeah.
And
Even Starlight Glimmer, a reformed villain, noted how devious she is.
exactly. Listen to Starlight. Quiet.
That's devious. I mean, I see.
Yeah.
And then
That scene.
And then that meme, that face created an unstoppable meme.
That's a good meme.
Cozy-
I just had
My
a-
prediction.
I just had a thought.
But
Yeah.
If ever we have a Jibber Jabber episode on April Fool's Day, we should just have all of our pictures on it just be variations of that meme face, just as our OCs.
Wait,
about
like
the-
our
yeah.
real face?
No,
our OC.
Yeah, our pony faces.
The meme face.
Oh, see, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Good luck,
cool with
say.
that.
if it does happen, I might get Joe to do that. That
I was-
might
yeah, I was-
actually.
I was about to ask that. That would be cool.
We
Just-
can
that would
we
be
can
cool.
just we can just read more chapters of Chinese change.
We could do.
Oh,
Wait,
oh,
Yeah.
has that gotten further, by the way?
Probably. I haven't checked in a while.
Shall we then?
Oh God.
Let me see if
What
I
the
can
hell is
find it.
Chinese change?
Okay.
Somebody decided to
someone who knows Chinese
translate-
someone who knows Chinese and English began translating change into Chinese and uploading it on another website for translated fanfics. They actually know Chinese, mind you.
What? Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Now here's the thing.
And it also started one of the Idiocyverse stories.
Yes.
The whole Twilight and the evil spirits thing.
Yeah. What wound up happening is,
Oh,
what wound up happening is when you take that properly translated Chinese text that used to be English and then translate it back into English using the ever shitty Google Translate, you get some interesting results. Like Princess of the Changelings turned into Princess of the Evil Spirits. So Twilight Sparkle became the Princess of the Evil Spirits, hence that Idiocyverse story. I'm just going to not pick that knife up again. I keep dropping it.
I just need to find the message if I haven't gone past it.
Quality content.
and it's all kinds of funny shit, really. It's if you translate it back into English with Google Translate, when it's actually in Chinese, I can't read Chinese, but I imagine it's properly translated, so probably just fine. But yeah, it's a trip.
What if we translated the Idiocyverse into Chinese and translated back?
I already did it. I already did a thing like that for an April Fool's video, if you'll recall. I think it was actually April Fool's this year. I took Shadow Dancers, and I ran it through Google Translate like 7 different times through like 8 different languages, and then back into English, and then I had that be read by a text-to-speech software, and in Microsoft Paint, without using the undo button, every single line was one draw, no redos. I redid the Shadow Dancers cover art as sloppily and as quickly as I could, and that became the April Fool's video. Dirk Dancers.
God.
Oh my goodness.
You've all seen that, haven't you?
I
yeah.
have.
It was a trip. I had been planning on that for a long time. I was gonna do it with my actual voice, but there was no punctuation. The word structure was all wrong, so I opted to just let text-to-speech do it.
You should have done it when you had it. You should have had a cold when you done it. Then you would have been able to do it.
I didn't have a
It would have
cold.
been like. It would have been like lick lick all over again.
Click.
Alright, I'm now heading onto the site.
You should just add that to your bookmarks and favorites list or some shit so you can easily access it.
Probably. I'll just find it quickly again, the actual story. There we go. I'm just waiting for the actual page, the actual author of the translator's page to translate so I can find the bloody thing. It's loading happening.
Oh my god. This is gonna be good, I can tell.
While we're waiting for that, let's all just give a round of applause to Tone for taking fanfiction by storm with Bug in the
There
Basement.
we go.
Oh yeah, that's right. I finally posted up the Bug in the Basement. Thanks, I guess. So I finally got around to posting the Bug in the Basement. You know, I got the new cover art. I put it up, and within a couple of days,
It's up to chapter 42.
Nice, but like, not Bug in the Basement. He's talking about Bug in the Basement.
Yeah.
Only has 5 chapters. It's already got well over 130 likes, and it's been up for less than a week.
And yet it's been featured for quite a bit.
People like your content, man.
I mean, I chalk
Especially this one.
I chalk it up to the weirdness of the concepts I write. I mean, little glimpses, Bug in the Basement, mother. My shit just has a tendency to be very off the wall and unorthodox, leading to strange concepts that result in interesting stories. I mean, the entire Little Flashes series, I think, is a pristine example of an unorthodox concept. Because the canon timeline is still there and referenced actively, so to speak. But it's an alternate universe where they are aware of the original timeline and are trying to base things off of it, but failing constantly because foreknowledge is a thing that wrecks shit.
And so is Twidash.
Yeah, and Twidash is a thing there. Although for how long?
Alright, the one I've got here is chapter. I'm going to read the most recent chapter, which is chapter 42, The Council of Change, which is when Twilight. Yeah, which is when Twilight and Chrysalis are at the Changeling Council, like talking about all the shit that's gone wrong. And here it's called 42 Royal Assembly. It's a good sign when the first line of the actual chapter is the first hive, and the first line translated of the Chinese chapter is initial lair.
Initial.
Well, it's not wrong.
Initial layer. Dear fucking sweet motherfucking Jesus, I love this.
You need to do this. You need to pick a chapter of this for next year's April Fools. You need
Twilight.
To do
Alright. Initial lair. Twilight uneasily twisted and turned on the bed, and even the expression on his face was deformed by tension. The evil spirit was awakened by her daughter's movements from her sleep. She opened her eyes in a confused way and looked at her daughter. Twilight's breath was short and uneven, as if it was flying. Her face was full of fear, just like her quilt wanted to take her life.
Wait.
What? Her quilt.
Quilt.
Quilts are dangerous.
Quilts are dangerous.
But I'm just trying. Hold on. I want to see what the actual line was there.
Send this to me. I want to see it.
I think it was like the blanket was trying to choke her or something, like as if the blanket was trying to choke her.
The actual line was Twilight was panting heavily as if she'd been running. She also seemed to be locked in a death battle with her covers. The fear was evident on her features. That was the original line.
Oh.
So, yeah, slight mistranslation.
Little bit. And
Yeah.
remember, everyone, this is translating the officially translated Chinese text back into English with Google Translate. The actual Chinese version of things is probably, yeah. Just wanting to make sure I drill that into people's thick skulls because people are idiots and someone's gonna miss it.
Also, if you wonder who the evil spirit is, like, Twilight's not the evil spirit this time. This time, Chrysalis is the evil spirit.
They're just evil spirits.
Just so you know.
Like
Chrysalis's name is translate just evil. Just so you know.
Chrysalis's name is just evil?
Yes. Evil sneaked down from the bed and quickly walked to the side of her daughter, gently swaying a hoof on the shoulder of the Twilight, trying to wake her up. Hey, said the evil whisper. It's just a nightmare. Just wake up. The twilight of the Twilight gradually opened. Her eyes licked and slowly opened. The morning sun shone in her eyes, almost making her temporarily blind. The young princess squinted and wiped out the drowsiness in her eyes with her hooves and sat up in the bed. She was still plagued by dreams and looked around for a long time in confusion, only to finally remember where she was. Twilight's gaze fell on her mother's body, and she was showing a gentle smile to herself. Mother, is it already in the morning? Twilight asked, in a deep sleep. Don't ask me to do voices, that's Brian's thing.
Next time we read some of those, send me a link and I'll just do it.
Oh god.
You know, fuck it.
You need to
Take
make
it.
this into
Okay, alright, put a link in the roll call. I'll do it. Fuck it, why not?
Frickin' take it.
Taking it.
You need to make this to a goddamn fanfic.
No,
It is a fanfic. Reading.
Like a chapter of change. You need to read this.
April Fools.
He's gonna
one
read
of
it
these
during
days.
April Fools. He's gonna do it at April Fools.
Oh god.
Alright, give me a second here. It is still translating.
Translate.
Shit's about to
See
go
if
down.
your translation might also be different to mine because Google translates like that.
Good.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. We were talking so great about change at the beginning of this, and now we're putting it through Google Translate and completely just.
Alright.
Destroying Tom's work.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up where Tom left off. Mother? Is it already in the morning? Twilight asked in a deep sleep. I thought she just woke up. Yes, replied evilly. But I really hope that solar energy will come earlier, so that you don't have to suffer from it. Twilight smiled crampedly. Yes, maybe. Are you having a nightmare? As in, right now? Now she woke up! Fuck!
Apparently, she's sleeping.
I don't think Google Translate understands tenses.
Twilight nodded, like a little female or a larva. The daughter's reaction made the evil spirit somewhat pleasant, but they could not help but worry about the reasons behind this action. The illusionist queen, illusionist. Oh,
Illusionist.
I think that's replaced changeling. Illusionist.
The illusionist queen sighed. This time also dreams of he, just like the dream that Luna interrupted last time. Yes, Twilight admitted. Just this time I dreamed of this nest. It was normal at first. We were on the way to the meeting, but I went the wrong way and then I lost my way. Then he appeared and the rest was exactly the same as before. When I woke you up this time, where did the dream develop? What? The same position as when Luna appeared last time. The restless look on the Twilight's face.
The Twilight.
But it's a little late. The knife is plugged in.
Plugged in.
Twilight is.
Plug it in.
Plug it in.
Plug it in.
Plug it in.
Billy Mays here to sell you plug it in.
Billy Mays here to stab Twilight in the chest.
Hold up, my knife needs the chop.
I can't stop laughing.
Let me just get my machete and stick in the outlet.
Twilight's hooves trembled, and he quickly stroked the scars that could not be erased on his chest. When did Twilight turn into a dude?
I don't know.
Well,
China did.
About 12 seconds ago.
The evil spirits carefully took the Dawn into her arms and scorned her.
The Dawn.
Can I just interrupt a minute? Also, the translated title of Change is The Spirit of Illusion. That's apparently the fixed title.
That actually sounds like a pretty badass story on its own. The Spirit of Illusion. Like
I don't know where the translate got that from Change, though.
Anyways, so why is this? Twilight asked in a trembling voice. What will happen? The evil spirit still held the light in his arms and asked.
And now Chrysalis is dead.
Why now? 2 years later, this nightmare is back. Now is not the time to fight post-traumatic anxiety syndrome. PTAS.
PTAS.
God.
Sorry, I have PAS.
God damn it.
This next Stupid children have been in the past for so long. How can they get traumatic sequelae now? Sequelae?
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I think it's like a Native American word. Although the heart is full of fear, Dawn still started the speech mode.
Why is her name changed?
I don't
Say, why is her name changed? And since when does she have a speech mode? Is she a robot?
In fact, I have read many of the relevant literature, especially after the incident 2 years ago and the silver armor. According to my investigation, usually post-traumatic anxiety, it takes at least 6 months for the symptoms of the syndrome to begin to attack. In other words, it is possible to have a seizure after a few months or even a few years. Seizure?
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 When was this about a seizure?
Like, what the hell?
Tom, what were you writing?
Not this.
Anyway, I think you are just overexcited. The evil spirits chuckled. The evil spirits chuckled and wanted to make the Dawn better.
The Dawn.
Hey,
She is no longer the Twilight. She is the Dawn.
let's hear. Anyways, let's hear. So, hey, remember your nightmare? How do you feel? Evil looked at her daughter's eyes. Twilight paused for a moment, back to Twilight, then replied, Fear and frustration. Frustrated? Then you recall the assassination? What is this to do? Asked the light.
What is this to do?
What is this to do?
Answer the question. Okay, Twilight said reluctantly. Recalling that day, I can only feel hate. The assassin, he wants to kill me, kill you, and he kills the mirror! Period, quotation mark, exclamation point, quotation mark.
What?
Kills the mirror.
What?
Yes, clearly.
I don't remember
We
a
should have
mirror.
known.
I can understand, Evil said. Is there anything else?
She's the only one.
Probably no. What does this mean? Twilight curiously picked his eyebrows.
And back to E.
And the evil
Gender Twilight.
The evil
Who's
spirit.
translating this?
Google Translate is. The evil spirit reveals a smile. Why don't you have fear of the assassination itself, but you will be afraid of nightmares? Not only fear, but you also mentioned frustration. Although this is the specialty of Princess Luna, as your mother, I have to understand this too. Does your nightmare have another meaning? Twilight's eyebrows, eyes, and nose were wrinkled, and she recalled 2 nightmares not long ago. Lost, turned, and found the bodies of friends, all of which made her creepy.
Lost.
If they can't, there's quotation marks missing here, so if you can, I hope that I will never see the scene again, but this is not the focus of nightmares. She suddenly widened her eyes. Look at the name of series. The name of the assassin said, but I can't remember it. But the matter of the conference reminded me of this. It must be this reason. I don't even know who's talking anymore.
Wow. This is amazing.
Is Twilight still a male or female?
Who fucking knows?
Pick a gender.
Is she called the Dawn or the Twilight?
Who fucking knows? She's also called just the Light. Mom, what you said may be right. I think there may be other reasons. Oh,
And then
said
Chrysalis
the
is
evil.
just the evil.
Is it going to talk? I still
Is
shouldn't
it
say
going?
it.
Is it going to talk?
I shouldn't say it now. I will tell you later. Twilight replied. Evil wrinkled.
Tom, even when Google Translate completely butchers this story, it's still amazing.
Evil wrinkled. Really? If you need
I
it,
take
You
that-
truly made a
compliment.
masterpiece.
Evil wrinkled. Really? If you need it, I am willing to listen to you. Do you know? Of course I know it. Twilight smiled and comforted. I just need to think about it myself. No matter what I think, I will tell you. Okay. Don't force yourself too much. The evil spirits are worried about the dawn. No problem. Right, are we going to leave? Evil looks at the alarm clock on the desktop. At 8:40, the alarm clock set at 9 o'clock. Almost.
What?
We only have to get up in 20 minutes, and the meeting starts at 10. We're better off getting ready to get ready now.
We're better off getting ready to get ready. That's Twilight. She has to get ready
To get
to
ready.
get ready.
The evil spirits walked away from the
confused.
The evil spirits walked away from the bed of Twilight, and her twisted black one corner flashed for a moment, and the green magic flattened her bed and quilt. Twilight came down from the bed and used the same magic for his bed. What? Twilight went back to the desk.
Oh my god.
Twilight went back to the desk, raised a small mirror with magic, and began to comb his own hair. He's a guy again!
God damn it,
What's the
Twilight.
deal with
Pick a
personality
gender.
changes?
Evil cockroaches looked at her daughter's hair, but she just arbitrarily took some of the split bristles back to their original position. Dawn is really speechless.
Not so weak.
I'm speechless.
Okay. And to wrap off, let's see here. I forget who's talking here, so I'm just going to assume Twilight. We're going to participate in the most important meeting of the Illusionist Society. Your meeting is just like this. Is it really good? Shu Guang said with a slap in the face. And on that confusing note, it is
I
time.
made a new meme.
On that confusing note, it is time for us to end. Thank you all very much for tuning in to this episode of Jibber Jabber. Thank you to Tux and Malafor for joining us for the first time. You were an interesting addition, if nothing else. We'll see you all in the next episode, people. Thanks for tuning in. Keep listening. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Bye.